One fan asks, what's the worst thing you've ever heard someone say? That's kind of a tough question. Do you mean in the field or behind the scenes? I'm gonna go behind the scenes. As far as like people saying insane shit, my nervous system is so oversaturated by ridiculous statements that I only actually react to genuine, touching statements that break through the fog of lunacy that encompasses so many outdoor political events. But I will say that the worst thing anybody on my team has ever said was during the People's Convoy of 2021. So if you remember, there were big protests in Ottawa, Canada, related to Justin Trudeau's government and their COVID vaccine mandates and transnational trade restrictions in the summer of, I think it was the winter of 2021. So in solidarity, some California patriots organized something called the Patriots Convoy that was supposed to go from Adelanto, California, which is pretty much LA, all the way across the country to Washington, D.C., to our nation's capital. If you ask me, it was actually just a way for January 6th rioter in Orange County Super Karen Lee Dundas to raise $700 grand. But still, they were off to D.C. with about 500 semi-trucks and one RV. They had no plan. There was no vaccine mandate in place, so there was no actual reason for a convoy to be happening, other than the fact that Biden was president and the election was quote-unquote stolen. I was initially critical of the People's Convoy, but I think it was a good opportunity for like Facebook-addicted, recently converted QAnon retirees to bond and check out new truck stops. So I was having a good time. And as the convoy got closer to DC, there was talk of having a second January 6th and actually pulling up to the Capitol 1,000 trucks deep. And people in the convoy were on go. So the night before, what was supposed to be January 6th round 2, the convoy gathered about 45 minutes outside of DC in a small campground in the locale of Hagerstown, Maryland. So we went to bed that night, assuming that we'd wake up and actually go to the Capitol to ask Biden to, I guess, put Trump back in the White House. Kelly was there. We woke up the next morning and everybody was gathered around the central campground area. And some trucker took the podium and he said, "Hey guys, I regret to inform you that Lee Dundas is gone." So the lady who organized the entire People's Convoy rally and raised $700 grand miraculously disappeared the night before the big day. And we were informed by some trucker deputy in chief. He said, "We've got some intel. There may be some Antifa infiltrators among us that are going to try to escalate things in a way that we don't want to happen." So this is very typical MAGA stuff here. So they get all stoked. They get to the point where they're almost about to do something crazy, Luigi style. Then they say, "Antifa is really riling people up. We got to calm down." So the plan was to do 45-mile-an-hour loops around the Beltway. So we're sitting there during the speech. Everyone's like kind of bummed. And our former camera guy, Evan, who was camera 2 back in the day, he just for some reason stands up and goes, "Why are we going to drive so slow?"
Why are we going so slow?
Why? We went 45 miles per hour all the way across this country. Not to mention, we're not here just to go for a joyride. We're out here to make a statement. So doing 65, 70 mile an hour doesn't tell anybody nothing. So we're going slow and we're taking 2 lanes up to let the world know we're here and we mean business.
And that like totally blew our cover. Like everyone was asking us if we were, Antifa or Ukraine, Hunter Biden, everything under the sun. That kind of ruined the shoot. But yeah, that was probably the worst thing someone said on our team. Next question. Have you kept up with the White twins from Marin and what are they up to? Their names are the Hoff twins, man. Not just the White twins. There's plenty of White twins. Probably from Marin too. Yeah, I mean like a little bit. We went to an event with them called the Twins Gathering in Twinsburg, Ohio in 2023, which was pretty funny. And I've been tinkering around with the edits for years and trying to find like the right voice and narrative structure to make it work. But I haven't had much luck making a good video out of the footage.
Here's a small preview.